Relations between Turkey and Sweden hit new lows following a week of provocative acts that have put the Scandinavian countries' desires to join NATO in jeopardy. That's according to Turkish President Recep Tayyip Erdogan, who said Sweden should not expect Ankara to back its membership into the alliance. The announcement came after a copy of the Quran was burnt at a protest in Stockholm, which set off a wave of global condemnation. In response to the incident, which happened in front of the Turkish embassy, Turkey postponed a meeting with Sweden and Finland that was scheduled to be held in Brussels in February. Sweden and Finland applied to join NATO last year, but their bids must be approved by the alliance's 30 members. Turkey has held back its support, citing what it says was Sweden's failure to fulfill pledges it made last year to crack down on terror groups. In recent weeks, the PKK terror group has held a number of rallies across Sweden. Stockholm has also refused to extradite suspected terrorists to Turkey. And for more on this latest diplomatic crisis between Turkey and Sweden, I'm joined by Klaus Jurgens from Innsbruck, Austria. He is a political analyst who specializes in Turkey's relations with Europe. Klaus, hello and welcome to Straight Talk. So what do you make of Ankara's decision to cancel indefinitely the trilateral mechanism meeting with Sweden and Finland? Are you surprised?
Hello, Aisha. Thank you for being on the show. No, I am not at all surprised. What really surprised me, first of all, that the FEG incident took place, and secondly, that the burning of the Quran took place. This is what really shocked me and surprised me. Ankara has a legitimate position to say for the time being there is basically nothing we should talk about. So ministerial or trilateral meetings may not make any sense. And it is good to send a signal. It can't go on like this, that known terror sympathizers or far-right extremists can attack an entire nation and even wider and attack the entire Muslim world. There must be a reaction from Sweden, and not only, yes, we will take care of that. I'm so sorry and that this had happened, and of course we have freedom of speech, but it doesn't mean that I have to agree with it. No, this is the wrong approach. Ankara is absolutely right.
So, I mean, is it too far-fetching? Because Sweden says the incidents have taken place within the framework of, as you've said, freedom of speech and freedom of thought. So is it too far-reaching to allow such a provocation act, which many countries around the world would consider a hate crime?
Absolutely. I mentioned this on the day, a few hours before the second incident. I was so optimistic, hoping that the Swedish authorities actually cancel the planned burning of the Quran. This is an act which is inciting hatred in society. First of all, in Sweden, pitching one group of society against the other. Secondly, in Turkey. And as we heard from all the reactions which came in worldwide across the globe, and inciting hatred in society, it can be hate speech, it can be a hate action. This is no peccadillo. This is nothing to shrug off. There should be clear legal frameworks in place to counter hate speech and inciting hatred in society.
And Klaus, on Thursday, Israel's ambassador to Sweden tweeted that through the joint activity from the embassy in front of Swedish authorities, they were able to prevent extremist groups from burning a Torah during a demonstration. So is there a double standard here, and why couldn't or wouldn't the Swedish authorities work to prevent the Quran burning?
Very good point, Aisha, if I may say. Now, we have to recall that the Quran is the holy book. Then we have to recall that the Sefer Torah is the holiest text in Judaism. So two very, very important documents, publications, pieces of religion and faith and belief. Now, there is a double standard. How is it possible that on the day I was on another program, some hours before the Quran burning, there was still time for the Swedish authorities to get going? It was the local authority allowing it. But if the national ministry would have made a quick phone call, the event would have been over and the police protection withdrawn. How is it possible that the Swedish authorities in the Torah case, upon the intervention of the Israeli embassy and government, yes, almost immediately says this cannot take place, and then the application to hold the burning of the Torah was withdrawn? Absolutely double standard.
So could latest postponement of this three-way NATO meetings, as well as Israel's success in preventing such a despicable protest, push Sweden to revise its position when it comes to freedom of speech and freedom of thought. What do you think?
I thought so. I mentioned this before. There is a new Swedish government, and I said, like every other new government, give them 100 days in office before you really put a verdict on them. Now, they said, we want to change the terror legislation. We want to listen to Ankara's legitimate demands. They did a little bit here and a little bit there, but this is really not enough from the side of the new government. Let us not forget, we have the Sweden Democrats as a kind of accepting the new government of Mr. Christensen, and they for sure have a different agenda, including Islamophobia. So this is the point. Yes, they had the chance. They have to change the legal framework, and they have to do it fast. And this includes disallowing activities of known terror, for example, PKK sympathizers on your own soil.
But Sweden, I mean, they say they need 6 more months to make changes, Ankara had asked. So are these rallies an act of sabotage, as Sweden's Prime Minister has put it? And who is likely to benefit from strained ties between Turkey and Sweden the most?
Yes, there were some discussions about could this be an act of sabotage to derail Sweden, to a lesser extent Finland's, NATO's prospects. But I would not say that they are staged by anyone from outside of Sweden. I think one far-right Danish man, yes, that is the outsider. But what had happened before with PKK sympathizers, these are basically homegrown incidents made in Sweden. And of course, a terrorist would not want to see another NATO member making NATO even stronger and then cooperating with Turkey and ultimately erasing the terror group from its soil at home and abroad. Yes, but I would not expect at this stage that there was a foreign hand. I think it was literally made in Sweden, unfortunately.
All right, Klaus, unfortunately, we'll have to leave it here. Thank you very much for joining me on Straight Talk.